Sorry that I'm bringing you into this video late. I hadn't planned on filming it, and then I decided to. What I am making tonight is Cowboy Candy, and I am making it for David, who loves the hottest peppers that you can imagine on it. I don't know. He's into really hot peppers. So what I made yesterday was just the jalapenos, which I did a mix of the red and green jalapeno peppers. This recipe is from the 1870s homestead, and the sauce, the syrup is just outstanding. What is in the syrup is 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 6 cups of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed, 3 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now, if I was going to make this syrup ahead of time, which you could do, and you can put it in the refrigerator and then use it, I would have made it and let it simmer with some garlic cloves in it. But this was kind of a spur of the moment thing to do. I'm going to use my pressure canner, has a water bath canner. We are going to be using, I've got the ball canning jars, they're the 8 ounce. And we are using the Denali lids. I started using these last year. I canned well over 500 items and I had 100% seal. I am just so impressed with this company. So we're going to be using those lids. I have got a mixture of jalapeno peppers. I have got Hungarian hot wax peppers, which usually Hungarian hot wax are not that hot, but I canned some earlier, like a couple weeks ago, of just the hot peppers in vinegar, apple cider vinegar, to use on like pizzas and things. And oh my gosh, let me tell you, these are so hot. And they were not close to any other hot peppers, so it was not like, and it wouldn't show up this year anyway. Whenever you look at things, cross-contamination, it's not going to show up this year. It will show up in the seeds that you save for next year. And with the syrup, I put it, what should be on I brought it up to simmer. It's going to simmer for 4 minutes. Then I will add the jalapenos to it, and I will bring you back whenever I do that. Okay, so the syrup has been simmering for about 5 minutes. I am going to put in the jalapenos. We will let them, well, the peppers, all except for the habaneros, and we will let them simmer for about 4 minutes. Let me turn it back on. I turned it off real quick here. So, and I'm using gloved hands for this because, well, you know, once you get it on your hands, it doesn't come off. And you know what I think I'll do? I'm going to scoot this pan forward here. Oh my gosh. This syrup smells so good, you guys. And once again, it was 2 cups apple cider vinegar. It was 6 cups of sugar, which this is used as a treat that you would put on like toast or like bread, on burgers, hot dogs, things like that. So you're not going to be eating a lot of this. You can take the seeds out if you want to. You can de-seed it and devein it. We do like things rather spicy, so I leave those in. And I'm not going to put the habaneros in this because I'm not going to put a whole lot. I have never canned this with those before, so I'm not exactly sure how hot it's going to get. And it is going to be an 8 ounce jar. And, you know, we can always add the heat to it, but you know how that goes. You can never take it out. So this is going to cook, simmer for about, like I said, 4 minutes. I'm going to set my timer for it. And by then, my jars will be hot. I'm going to put the lid back on them. Some people put their jars in the ovens to heat them up. I don't do that. I was just taught to do it in the canner. I do it for pressure canning and for water bath canning. If you're going to put a hot product into a jar, you want the jar to be hot. Otherwise, the thermal shock can happen and the jar could break. If you are cold packing it, though, you want your jars to be cold. You don't want to put a cold item into a hot jar. So let me get the lid back on it, just to help the jar stay hot. And then we'll be back in about 3.5 minutes. Okay, the syrup has been simmering for, I take that back. Whenever you put the peppers in, you bring it up to a simmer, then you take it up to a boil and you let it go for the 4 minutes. So that is what I have done. I'm just going to show you one jar and then I will get the rest canned up. My jars have been heating up in the canner. I am going to get my gloves on because it's hot peppers that we're dealing with. And once you get that on your skin, yeah, it's there for pretty much most of the day or the night. So what I'm going to do, I've got a ladle that has the holes in it, slotted, I guess is what they do call it. And I'm just going to take that out. And we're putting just the peppers in at the moment. And I'm sorry if this is kind of jumbled in my talking because I really hadn't planned on doing this, and it is getting to be kind of late at night. It's been kind of a long day. You want to leave eventually like a 1/4 of a inch headspace. Get these, I can get a few more peppers in that. I'm not sure how many I'm going to get. Yesterday I actually measured my peppers out. This is kind of end of the season type thing for me, so it's just whatever we get is what we get. If I have got broth or syrup left over, I'm going to can just that because I think this would be good to add to chilies, to all kinds of things. So then we are going to grab the other ladle. Normally I would have all the peppers out of this. I'm going to try and just get the syrup without any peppers in it. And just put it in. I'm going to try and fill it up. And then I'll go around with my debubbler. Just a tad more. Just a scant more there. This over here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to leave this on. I'm going to go through with my debubbler here. You just don't want to use anything that's aluminum. You can use stainless steel, you can use plastic to debubble with, but just not aluminum. Same thing, you don't really want to have a funnel that's made out of aluminum because it can have a reaction with the vinegar. Okay, something I should have done, because this is David's, is I'm going to go ahead and put in a nice big piece of habanero, and get it buried in there a little bit. I'm just going to add a few extra of the really hot seeds. This is what my habanero sliced up to be. I only put one plant out this year. Usually I put more. And something else I'm going to try and do, and I can't remember who I saw do this, but they added pickle crisp, and it's calcium chloride. You can get it from a lot of different places in generic names, or well, any kind of brand name, or you can just buy it from like a food supply store. Has calcium chloride, and you use it the same way. You put it for a pint, it's 1/8, so we're not going to do quite 1/8 in here, maybe about half that. Then I'm going to put my lid on it. You no longer have to preheat. Oh, you know what? Hang on just 1 second. I almost committed a cardinal sin. You want to take vinegar, white vinegar is okay, and just go around the rim with a paper towel or a cloth and just clean it off, especially when you're dealing with something that is sticky like this or greasy. And that will ensure a good seal. I'm going to use a different lid here because that one may have gotten some stickiness on it. You put your lid on, get it so that it's on there secure. You put your, it's on the warm side, put your ring on and just screw it so that it is finger tight. Unless you have got like a wrist issue or weak fingers, you don't want to get wrist motion in. Finger tight means just screwing it on with your fingers. And then this one is going to go into the canner. So I'm going to get the rest of these filled up and then I will bring you back. Okay, what I got out of this was 5 of the pepper mixes. I got 1 jar of just straight habaneros, 1 jar just straight ghost peppers, and I got 4 jars of just the sauce. And I've got a little bit left over that I'm going to put in this jar, stick it in the fridge, and then I'll use it for cooking. And, you know, I was thinking this would actually be really good in a Asian dish too, or Mexican dish, any kind of dish that you wanted to go with for it, just to give it a kick. What I'm going to do, I've got at least 1 inch headspace over the jars. I'm going to put my canner lid back on it, and I'm going to put it down, but I'm not going to lock it. Once this starts to boil, I'm going to turn this up here and really get it to boiling. Once it starts the boiling process, that is whenever I start my timer for this. For half pints and pints, it is 10 minutes. I always go 5 minutes over. I am just paranoid like that. So I'm going to be doing 15 minutes on it. And I have seen a couple videos where they did say 15 minutes. I think the Ball Canning book says 10 minutes for their candied jalapenos. But whenever it's done, oh, you know what else I forgot to do? Here we go. I was thinking so much about taping that I forgot this. Rest of my white vinegar. Just pour it in. You want to put at least a tablespoon of white vinegar in your canners. It helps keep the hard water from building up on the jars and on the inside of your canner too. This canner is like 22, 23 years old and it still looks great on the inside. So once again, I'm not going to lock it. I'm just going to leave it set down to help hold that heat in. Whenever it's done and I'm ready to get them out, I will bring you guys back. It is really hot steam that comes out. It's not like whenever you're doing pressure canning and you let this thing drop back down. The water is somewhat cool, you know, pretty cool at that point. But with this one, you're going to get the hot steam that comes out. So you've got to be careful. Use hot pads to lift the lid on. It's not like my regular water bath canner where you've got the handle and you just bring it up like that. Safety factor for it. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, I went to record and for some reason I hit a time lapse and it sped it up like you wouldn't believe. So I'm going to go through this again real quick. This is a jar of the mixed peppers. You can see the orange. Those are the habanero ones that I did. Very pretty, great Christmas gift. You got the red and the green going. This one is just straight habanero peppers. This one is some of the syrup. Whoops, it's water coming off the top, not the juice. And then this one is red ghost peppers. And I'll get the rest of them out. You do not want to tighten up the rings at this point. You want to just leave it the way it is. If you do tighten it up, it can give a false seal to it. And the content can actually go bad inside. And botulism is not detectable through taste or smell. So if something else is growing in there, then yeah, you can smell it and you can taste it. But these have to set for 12 to 24 hours. At the end of that time, which it's 10:15 p.m. for me. So it's going to be tomorrow after I get off work and the 12 hours or so is up. Then I will wash these off, take the rings off, wash these off, and then they will get dated and what the item description put on it, because I do not want anybody to open one of these thinking that's going to be the regular jalapenos when it's not, because this is going to be much spicier. And even though they do look clean, you know, if there's any siphoning that went on in here, then that can get onto the jars and you don't want that, because that's just going to wind up growing some bacteria on it. Plus it's going to be sticky at this point too. So that's it. I hope that you all have a good evening. If you like this, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and ring that little bell so that you can get any future notifications. But I hope you all are just, taking care of the great bounty that can be provided to us. This is actually my form of creativity whenever I'm cooking or canning. To me, it is an art form because you can do what you want with it. There are certain guidelines that you do have to follow with the USDA. There is a thing called rebel canning, which I don't really do, but they are items that haven't been tested by the USDA to prove that it is safe to can that way. But I hope that you all will give this a try and let me know if you have tried this, what you think of it, and I will catch you on the next video. Have a good evening, everyone.